Have you noticed how difficult it has become to sit with one thing for a long time? To read without checking your phone? To think without distraction? To work without constantly switching attention? Even rest no longer feels restful. And slowly, many people are beginning to feel mentally scattered all the time. Not because they are lazy, not because they lack intelligence, but because modern life has trained the mind to expect constant stimulation. Most people wake up and immediately consume information: notifications, messages, videos, news, music, conversations. The mind barely gets silence anymore, and because this happens every single day, the brain slowly adapts to constant interruption. Stillness begins to feel uncomfortable, quiet starts feeling unnatural, and concentration becomes harder to sustain. Not instantly, but gradually. Modern platforms are designed to hold attention for as long as possible. Every app competes for engagement. Every notification asks for reaction. Every platform wants you to stay longer. And over time, people become used to rapid stimulation. Fast videos, fast scrolling, fast entertainment, fast emotional rewards. So slower activities begin to feel difficult. Reading feels harder. Deep thinking feels tiring. Patience becomes weaker. Not because people are incapable, but because the mind adapts to whatever it repeatedly consumes. One of the strangest parts of modern distraction is that many people no longer notice it happening. Switching between screens feels normal. Checking phones during conversations feels normal. Watching something while scrolling something else feels normal. Even moments that used to contain silence are now filled immediately. Waiting in line, sitting alone, walking quietly, the mind constantly reaches for stimulation, and eventually, uninterrupted attention begins to feel unfamiliar. When the brain rarely rests, mental exhaustion quietly increases. Not always dramatic exhaustion. Sometimes just a constant feeling of scattered attention, difficulty concentrating, difficulty staying present, difficulty slowing thoughts down. And because stimulation never fully stops, the mind rarely gets enough recovery, which is why many people feel mentally tired even when they haven't done deep work physically. Deep focus used to be more normal than it is today. People could sit with one task longer, one conversation longer, one thought longer. But now, the mind has become highly accustomed to interruption. So the moment silence appears, or boredom appears, attention immediately starts searching for escape. You open one app, then another, not necessarily because you need something important, but because the brain has become used to constant stimulation. And this changes the experience of focus itself. Focus now begins to feel mentally heavy after only a short period. Not because the task is impossible, but because the mind keeps expecting reward and interruption at the same time, and that expectation creates restlessness. People start feeling uncomfortable during activities that require sustained attention, reading for long periods, studying deeply, thinking carefully. Even watching one thing without touching another screen can begin to feel difficult, which is strange when you think about it, because human attention was not originally designed for this level of fragmentation. But repetition changes behavior, and eventually, distraction stops feeling like interruption and starts feeling like normal life. In a world filled with distraction, focus quietly becomes powerful, because while many people struggle to stay present for even short periods, The few who protect their attention gain something extremely valuable. They think more clearly. They learn more deeply. They work more effectively. They notice things others miss. And over time, that difference compounds. Not dramatically at first, quietly, slowly, but consistently. The ability to focus now separates people in ways many do not immediately notice. Because attention shapes output, it shapes learning, it shapes creativity, it even shapes relationships. When someone gives full attention today, it feels rare, and perhaps that is why focus is becoming less common. Modern life rewards speed, reaction, and constant stimulation. But meaningful work usually requires the opposite: patience, depth, stillness, sustained thought. And maybe one of the most important decisions people can make today is deciding what deserves their attention before the world decides for them. Modern life constantly pulls attention outward, toward noise, toward reaction, toward endless stimulation. And after a while, many people stop realizing how fragmented their attention has become. But perhaps one of the most important skills today is learning how to return your attention to one place again and stay there long enough to truly think